New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman. Maggie.
Chris, thanks for having me.
I now exist to bother you late at night and to bother you early in the morning when you were with your family. But thank you so much. The headline matters. Tell us what you know and what you think it means.
Sure. Look, I think that Mueller is going to be the one who can really decide how significant all of this is. But we've learned more about how things went down in terms of drafting the Trump Tower, the statement that was crafted aboard Air Force One about that Trump Tower meeting. We know that Mueller has been asking people about it, and some prosecutors are a little not prosecutors, excuse me. Some people involved in these interviews are a little bit puzzled as to why, because the argument is that being not candid with the press is not a crime, but not being candid with federal investigators would be, and that was not the issue here. It was simply the former. We also know of a conference call that took place the day after this statement was drafted, with the president supervising it, essentially, between the president, Hope Hicks, and Mark Corallo, who at the time was the spokesperson for the president's legal team. He said, I think he told people that he resigned. There's others who claim he was fired at the time. But supposedly during this call, Hope Hicks, referring to emails that Don Jr. Exchanged with somebody trying to set up that meeting with a Russian lawyer. The initial purpose was said to be about getting dirt on Hillary Clinton with the Russian government's help. And again, this was all said in the emails. She said that those emails would, quote unquote, never come out, never get out or never come out. And Corallo is expected to tell Robert Mueller's investigators that he believed that Hicks may have been trying to obstruct justice. Her lawyer said that that is false,
right?
That she was never discussing destroying documents. There is a scenario where what she's talking about is it getting out into the press.
Right.
Soon. But what's going to matter is who says what to Mueller.
Right. Now, her lawyer, Trout, who's an established guy, used the language that would exactly echo a carve-out in the statute for obstruction of justice. He used those words on purpose and zealously representing his client's interests, that she wasn't doing what would trigger that statute. Understood.
That's right.
So the problem is, on the other side of this equation, you have someone who is equally respected. Corallo worked at the DOJ. He knows what these laws are and how they're made manifest and what should trigger concerns. So contextually, it will be relevant to Mueller. He will make a good witness in this regard for them in terms of why he would be concerned. It's not like just some regular PR flack. But you're right, Maggie, it ultimately comes down to what did she mean? And what is your sense of whether or not she's already talked to them? So what does it mean that this is still something they're looking at?
I think what it means is that, first of all, I'm not sure that they were even going to talk to Corallo until Corallo was described in the Michael Wolff book as thinking there might be obstruction of justice. I mean, there are a lot of people who essentially offered themselves up to Mueller by virtue of being quoted in that book in certain ways. It's also possible he was going to talk to him already and had planned to, and he just hadn't gotten to it yet. My guess is that it means that either Hicks ends up getting a phone call on follow-up or she gets called back. But again, it will still come down to one person's word against the other. And then, of course, there's that outstanding question of, does Mueller ever speak to the president?